thank you for joining us. And welcome to the official Cooking with Kids launch. As you all know, this is a long time in the coming. We really hoped to do this in September, and something got in the way. But we're doing it today, and this event is being hosted by Kiwanis and the Calgary Police Youth Foundation. My name is Barbara Pohl, and I am so honored to be here with you today as your MC. I'm Senior Director of Community Engagement for the Calgary Police Youth Foundation, and I believe, like you do, that all children deserve an opportunity for a bright future. I'd like to start by thanking the sponsors of Cooking with Kids. Without their support, this cookbook would not have been possible, and the support that it has raised for children wouldn't have been possible. Thank you, CN Railway, WCD West Canadian Digital, Rocky Mountain Equipment, Mauer, Calgary Foundation, Alpine, London Drugs, Cycle, Camp Kiwanis, Telsec Microspace, and also thank you to the friends of Cooking with Kids who donated to this project. And I'd be remiss if I did not thank YouthLink. YouthLink Calgary has donated this space for us to use this afternoon. YouthLink is an interactive police museum, one of a kind in North America, where crime prevention is at the heart of everything they do. Since the school year began in September, YouthLink has had over 1,300 students in the Center for Field Trips, where they teach grade 6 students important crime prevention information. Children leave the week-long or on-day field trip equipped with important safe for life information, including healthy relationships, online safety, gangs, and drugs. Virtually, they've connected to almost 1,500 young people in the last 4 months. In October and November alone, YouthLink welcomed almost 700 members of the public into this center. And YouthLink is key in preserving police history in Calgary. So thank you, YouthLink. So my connection to Cooking with Kids started in 2019 when I began getting a lot of emails and phone calls from police officers saying that a very enthusiastic Kiwanian had an idea about fundraising a cookbook. And I think everyone here knows that Kiwanians can be very enthusiastic, and when they have an idea, it'll come together for sure. So at the foundation, we loved it. We loved the idea. And from that, we formed an organizing committee of people that had the vision of what the cookbook could be and how it could come together. Many of those original visionaries of the organizing committee are here today, and I'm going to read out their names. If you're here, you hear your name, give us a wave. Wayne Cornish, Bob Fleming, Bob Morrison, he's here in our hearts. Cheryl Arany, Nick Kuhn, Susan Cron, and myself. As part of that beginning, the organizing committee, we had 2 very special members. Their guidance, professional wisdom helped steer the cookbook towards excellence. Thank you, Mary Halpin, and thank you, Chef Paul McGravy. Mary's going to be coming up in a few minutes to talk to us, so stay tuned for more. Since those early days, many more volunteers have joined the Cooking with Kids family, and we thank them all. And now I would like to invite to the stage to talk about Kiwanis and the Calgary Police Youth Foundation and their connection to Cooking with Kids, Cheryl Arany and Susan Cron.
You get it? Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them before they talk. Cheryl is past president of the Calgary Northmount Kiwanis Club, and as a world traveler, she has experienced firsthand seeing children in need. And she is an energetic volunteer in Calgary. And Susan's my partner in crime. Susan is the executive director of the Calgary Police Youth Foundation, and she has worked in the charity sector since arriving in Canada in 2005. And she believes she is the best job in the world because she spends her days hanging out with people who, with glad hearts, give freely of their time, talent, and treasure to help others. So thank you, ladies. Go ahead.
All right, I will be brief. Thank you, Barbara. That was lovely. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you for that. Just a quick little bit about Kiwanis. Kiwanis has been in Canada for 105 years. Started in the U.S. 106 years ago. And the mandate of Kiwanis is to help underprivileged children, to help communities, one child, one community at a time. And I'm a proud member of Kiwanis, and as Barbara said, when we kind of get onto we hang onto a bone of an idea, it's really tough to let it go. The cookbook was the brainchild of Wayne, Bob, and by time I jumped on the train of jumped on the cookbook train, they had already established a partnership with the Calgary Police Youth Foundation. And that could not have been a better relationship, partnership. The mandates very much aligned with each other, and it was basically a match made in heaven. Their enthusiasm to bring this cookbook along, all of us, we were all kind of just learning blindly because none of us had ever really published a book. We had Mary as help. There's no doubt she was a tremendous wealth of information and a resource. But we were, a lot of it was just trial and error, trying to figure out how this was going to work. We had support from West Canadian Digital and the great creative team there. And at the end of the day, we produced a book that we are also very proud of. And our family has grown exponentially, because I always talk about the Kiwanis family, and now our Kiwanis family includes CPYF family and people who are associated with them, their friends, their family, Kiwanis friends and family. It's just exploded. So thank you all for your support, and keep buying cookbooks.
This could be something like fight night when I take this mask off, because I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty hot under here. So first thing, Barbara, my journey with the cookbook began in 2020. So I don't know where that discretionary year went.
It's just a lot of calls.
Oh, a lot of calls I didn't know about. So Barbara's taking care of all the thank yous, and super important to recognise who helped us get to the place we're at. But I thought I would tell the story from my perspective of how it all began. So in July 2020, my colleague Tara Robinson, and for those of you who don't know, she was the former ED of this facility, was contacted by a police officer who is a family member to Wayne Cornish. So give away Wayne, right? The police officer contacted Tara as he was told by those in the know that Tara had some clout and could get things done. So Tara had the great insight to introduce me to Wayne's family member, and this email arrived in my inbox about 15 minutes before I was about to go on vacation. So I passed that contact to Barbara, and was probably one of the people that gave you a sort of nod about this project. Separately, and at the same time, another police officer contacted Barb with a proposal from the Kiwanis. So we were beginning to get the message loud and clear. The Kiwanis were serious about this cookbook and wanted to get someone's attention. So I actually have the original proposal with me today, and I think for your amusement you should read it. Because the vision of 2020 and where we landed, we're close enough. But what's entertaining to my mind is, at least as I looked at this again this morning, is it's actually signed the 4 Musketeers. So then I thought, well, who are they? So I think I figured out the 2 Bobs and Wayne, but I would like to ask now the 4th Musketeer to identify themselves, because who is it?
It's who they blame everything on.
Well, the missing 4th Musketeer, thank you for being part of this proposal that found its way to the Calgary Police Youth Foundation. So, undaunted and more than a little curious, Barbara and I embarked on a journey with the Kiwanis to design and produce a cookbook. What a journey it has been. Personally speaking, I didn't fully understand when sitting on the organising committee that I would be hands-on with everything, right, that goes into making a book. I didn't know I would have to research nutrition, collect recipes, test recipes. Personally, I am still recovering from baking 16 loaves of bread. Haven't got over that one. Whole weekend ruined. Sales strategies, and the list goes on. I have come out of this journey with a lot wiser and with a great many more skills. So aside from the cookbook, and to what Cheryl has also acknowledged, what has been our greatest achievement is the friendships we have found in each other, our mutual respect for our organisations, and our shared admiration for those who guided us to where we are today. And I have to give Mary and Paul, I can't see Mary. Where is Mary? Oh, there she is. Mary and Paul. From my perspective, I honestly do not think we would have got to the place we did without them. I know I'm going to be able to add book producer to my resume. So thank you for that, Mary. So to all of you here today, thank you for supporting the cookbook.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, yes. Thank you for contributing to this cookbook and making it incredible with and talking about the story of both of those organizations. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be inviting up to join us now a very special lady, Mary Halpin. So Mary has been on our organizing committee, as you've heard. She is instrumental to recipe development and what went into the cookbook. Come on up, Mary. Mary is one of the founders of the institution, the Best of Bridge, which we all have in our kitchens. I'm sure. I know it is one of my most beloved cookbooks. Well, a few live there. I have a few of them. They're all my most beloved cookbooks. Mary has been a guiding light for us. Mary's partner in crime, if I can say so, is Chef Paul McGreevy, who was on the Cookbook committee, organizing committee as well. And Paul was instrumental in developing what the recipes would look like and making sure that the shopping would be done from the perimeter of the grocery store and that the recipes would be fulsome and contributed greatly to the success of this book. Unfortunately, Paul can't be here with us today, but he said to wish everyone very happy holidays from him. For those of you who are not familiar with Chef McGreevy, he's an incredible Calgary chef who's responsible for the menus of many of our favorite restaurants in the city, and some new ones coming up. So he's pretty amazing, and we were lucky to have him. And we were also very lucky to have this amazing lady with us.
I'm really sorry that Paul can't be here for you to meet him because, first of all, he's really cute, and he's a great cook. And I never met any of these people until we got to a Zoom meeting, and I'm so old I didn't even know how to work that one. So I would always disrupt their meetings, and they'd be at least 50 minutes longer trying to get me tuned in. Wayne could speak to that. But anyway, I got to meet Paul, just by looking at the camera, but then we started having these conversations about the recipes we were starting to deal with, and he's got the best sense of humor. And we had, the very first phone call we had went on for at least an hour, and we knew we had to start doing it again because he's such a pleasure to work with. So I hope at some point in time you'll get to meet him and his incredible family. But the thing about Paul is he's a chef. And the thing about me and my partners is we're home cooks. And all of you are probably mostly home cooks too if you want to cook anything. So getting to know Paul, I was a little terrified, and I think Paul was thinking to himself, he probably thought I was some big hotshot or something like that. Anyway, we laughed about that right off the bat, but we realized very quickly in our conversations that we really do think the same way, in that we want to have a simple recipe that will work, and so that you can make it and have confidence in it. And that's what you want to do when you're cooking with kids too. You want to make sure that you're introducing them to some food that's basic food, like where does a carrot really grow? I mean, a lot of kids just know they're in bags, but they don't know. So we're trying to teach kids about basic foods. And so actually, before you cook something, it's a really good idea, if you can manage, to take the child shopping with you at the grocery store, and that's always an adventure. So Paul and I talked about stuff like that, and while we were bridge partners 30 years ago, or longer ago than that, and then we started to celebrate International Women's Year, we decided we'd write a cookbook and see if we could start a business. I mean, see if we could, at least make that thing happen and, sell all of them and forget about it after that. And I mean, it turned out to be an affirmation of a long-standing friendship. And for 30 years, we were in business and we were best friends, and we're still best friends. There's only 4 of us left, but it really taught us about caring for other people and about other people, and also working together. And that's all of these things we talk about have to do with the Kiwanians and with the CPF. And so it feels like we're all in light company. I remember when we were starting to do promotion for the cookbook, and we actually couldn't believe that people wanted to talk to us. We were on a promotion trip down east, and we were in, I guess it was Hamilton. And we were on an open line show, and there were lots of them in those days, and the host was talking to some woman who was raving about hamburger soup, and then somebody else got on, and he said, hamburger soup. He said, that's a bad name for a recipe. Well, he got inundated with more calls about, don't talk to us about what's the matter with hamburger soup. Anyway, when he got finished, he laughed. He said, he said, really? He said, these sound like simple recipes with gourmet results. And we thought, aha, that's a good marketing line. So that's what we used after that. And mostly we tried to stay true to that. And so that was where Paul and I made that connection. We realized we were looking at the same kind of thing. And then these Kiwanians, who don't do anything halfway, gave us hundreds of recipes to test. Some of them were absolutely brutal, I have to tell you. And we also got recipes from the CPF and their families. And it became everybody's mandate to get a good recipe, because we needed lots to test from. Because Paul and I knew we were going to have to kick a lot of them out for different reasons. If not, well, we didn't need 10 brownie recipes. So everybody's family has things that are in common that they love. So anyway, Paul and I had a lot of fun going through those recipes, and I spent with Paul most of last winter cooking a lot of stuff that I didn't like, and trying to figure out how to tell people that, Aunt Agnes's, sauerkraut wasn't going to make the cut. So I think that's why Paul and I were really glad there were 2 of us, because we could blame it on the other person. Anyway, the bottom line was we ended up getting to know the Kiwanians and learning about the individual clubs and their personalities, and we felt that I was just thinking about something that I wanted to, but oh yeah, I know what it was. When we were busy testing stuff, and Paul was saying to me, his kids were complaining, and I said, yeah, I remember Linda Jacobson came to the office one time. This is when we were working on about book 4, and she said, I don't know about the rest of you, but she said, my kids are dying for a peanut butter sandwich. And you know that when you try stuff. So at least, we like to think that we gave birth to those recipes so that you could just enjoy them. And that was what, what Paul and I wanted it to do. And we both love the fact that our kids, and I was testing with grandkids, were trying some recipes and thinking, I can actually do this. And it doesn't mean that you want to grow up to be a good cooker, but it would be nice to know that you could if you wanted to. So that's what Paul and I were so pleased about. And we know that you've all seen the cookbook, and now you've got to start using it. And I just want to tell you that I'm going home this weekend. I'm going to be making Annie Marge's poppycock. That's really amazing. Except Annie Marge, I put some salt in it, and that made it really amazing. And then I'm going to be making tiger butter, and any kid can make tiger butter, and you look like a star. You just have to be able to, Wayne, yeah. You just have to be able to afford to buy all the expensive chocolate, but it's really good. And so it's Christmas time. You can make things with your family. And also, Cheryl, God bless her, put in a craft section. I'm going home with my grandson to make a peanut butter bird feeder. And you can't believe how easy it is. You can get that done in 20 minutes. She's got more tricks to keep your grandchildren into trouble or out of trouble. And there's only about 6 of them, because they're all worth doing. So this is an amazing book. And that's really all that I wanted to tell you, except that I too have really, really enjoyed getting to know the CPF and the Kiwanians, and I really respect your enthusiasm and how you care for each other. And in closing, I would say that I think that this book and your friendships, oh, I'm going to do this, I don't do this. I think that this book, Cooking with Kids, and your friendships are the best things that happened to me last year.
I have to say, I think Mary's the best thing that happened to us last year.
Yes. Yes.
Don't go away, Mary. Stay here. Mary, stay here for a minute. Mary, you contributed so much to this cookbook, and you were an incredible partner the entire journey. And the Kiwanis, on behalf of the Kiwanis and the Calgary Police Youth Foundation, we are eternally in your debt. And we have a small gift for you.
Aw, yes!
We framed a copy of the cover for you, Mary. Thank you.
Some of you know I have a den wall that's got all my family and the important things that happened. You're all shaking your heads. They all came over for I don't know, we broke COVID long in the summertime. So this is going on the den. In my family, when you make the den wall, and Alex can tell you that means you've arrived. Thank you.
Well, we're honored to be in your den. So we have another person coming up who's very special as well. She was instrumental in the naming of this fantastic mascot. To join us to tell us that story about how that happened, please welcome Caitlin. I'm going to invite Mary to come back, and we want to talk to Caitlin for a couple minutes.
I said to her, I wasn't even worried about the mask. I just wanted to see the red hair. Okay, I'll just give you enough distance. So Caitlin got introduced to the idea of this cookbook when she was 9, and now she's all grown up and she's 10. And I know how smart 10-year-olds are because I've got a 10-year-old grandson, and I was kind of hoping to get to meet you, but maybe that won't happen. So the story that I was told was that Caitlin was the one who thought of Kiki's name. So I want to ask Caitlin how you got that brilliant idea.
So since it was a cookbook, and the word cook kind of makes the k sound, Kiki also starts with that sound. Kiki just came into my mind, and also I thought it was a really, really cute name, and it's nice and easy to remember.
Yeah.
I said to Caitlin, here, I'll just, I said to Caitlin that I thought that was really original thinking. I thought somewhere along the way, her grandfather had told her about Kinsman International, Kiki, but she didn't. You said it was an original thought, and I think that was a really good idea. So now I want to know, have you made any of the cookbook recipes, or which ones are you thinking of if you haven't yet?
Well, yeah, we've made the chocolate chip cookie recipe, but over the holidays we're definitely planning on making a lot more. Like, I really want to make the puffed wheat squares or the fruit kebabs.
Yeah. I go to Ronald McDonald House every Wednesday, and puffed wheat squares are a definite favor, so you'll like that one. So now, do you know any of those jokes in that book?
Yeah, I know. I remember 2 of them.
Oh, good. I want to hear them because I love these jokes.
So there's one I have heard before, and it's what do you call a fake noodle? Impasta. And then one of my other favorites is what's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding half a worm in your apple.
And you know what? I was really worried she'd pick my favorite, but you almost picked my favorite because the worm in the apple is amazing. And I like this one. What do you call a boomerang that won't come back? A stick. So, and Caitlin, I was going to say that when your grandpa was asking you those questions, you had a friend with you. So did you and your friend get to? Did your friend agree with you about that?
Well, I don't really fully remember, but yeah, I think one of my friends were there, and I said it, and I know she also did like the name.
Oh, that's good. Well, we can all tell by now that Caitlin's grandfather is absolutely right. She's lovely.
Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Mary. That's fantastic. And what a great story. So Kiki is not only the namesake for our incredible cookbook, but Kiki is also grown to be the name and now the face of a very special project called Kiki's Care Boxes. The proceeds received from Cooking with Kids cookbook is being channeled directly into Kiki Care Boxes to support local families. Each of Kiwanis and the Calgary Police Youth Foundation are working on those care boxes in their areas of focus. The care boxes are stocked with food items, personal hygiene items, and toys for children and families in need. And how great is that? What a great outcome for the sales of the cookbook. So I have to let you know that the Calgary Police Youth Foundation is working diligently over the past 2 months on our Kiki Care Boxes. And we have, over the past week, I'm humbled and privileged to tell you, have delivered 1,000 care boxes to families. And I would be remiss if I did not tell you that we do that in collaboration with our very good friends and some of the best people we know, the Calgary Police Service. And we have Inspector Walker at the back of the room. You can give us a wave. Thank you, Inspector, for coming here today, and thank you for supporting this initiative with the care boxes. So to speak to Kiwanis and the Kiki Care Box, I'd like to invite our good friend Ed Fadoon. So Ed is president. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him before you can clap, because there's lots to clap about for sure. Ed is president of Metro Kiwanis Club. In his previous Kiwanis life, Ed was Kiwanis International Trustee, one of only 18 international board members worldwide. He has a personal experience with the Calgary Police Service. He tells me it's in a good way. He's been working with CPS as a supporter of the Diversity Cup, a day of soccer for youth in Northeast and Southeast Calgary. So welcome, Ed.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to the official launch of the cookbook. This is a phenomenal facility. It's the first time I visited, so let's just acknowledge our respect for this place by just having a clap. Now, I am very familiar with the rest of the facility of the headquarters here because I worked very closely with a team of CPS members in putting on the Diversity Cup. And this is a phenomenal event that's been going for several years now. I've been involved for 13. And Kiwanis pretty well puts up the funding to make it happen. And we're hoping that this year we'll be able to have an actual soccer tournament. Anyway, the cookbook project. I just think back to the meetings that we had to make the things possible. And I realized that COVID has changed so many things. It's changed the way we work, the way we play, and the way we communicate with each other. But more importantly, it's given me the stark realization that I look better in a mask than not. And it kind of concerns me, but I'll get over it. So early in the project, I was asked if I would chair a committee of trustees, and they sort of outlined a list of duties that we would be responsible for. And the main one was to come up with an idea as to why are we doing this? Like, what would we use the funds for that would be generated from the profits of the cookbook sales? And I got to commend the committee members. I've got a great committee that I've worked with, and if those of you, just put up your hand for those of you that are joining us today. Yeah, Mark? So great group of people that I had the opportunity to work with. And we bantered and shared ideas about many different kinds of projects that we can perhaps use the funds for. The challenge As you can all appreciate, the needs in a city like Calgary and surrounding area are greater than anybody could ever meet totally. So we wanted to make sure that we had some core sort of items in this project, and that was to benefit children and make their lives better. So after several meetings of deliberating, we came up with this idea of a care box. And for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's scalable, we can customize it to the recipients, and we were delighted that the rest of the group that organized the cookbook agreed, and that's how the project came to be. Now, we are learning every time we have a meeting, and every month that passes, we are learning more and more and more about how we can make this better. And I realize that even with where we are today, we're just scratching the surface. So proud of our friends at CPYF as to what they've been able to do with it in a very short period of time. And we are going to be launching our care boxes early in the new year. So once again, in closing, I'd just like to say that I'm so proud to be a part of this project. Over the past 34 years with Kiwanis, I've been involved in many projects, but this is truly an exciting way to give back to the community. So thank you very much.
We have a special surprise for the Kiwanis volunteers here today.
I can breathe again. Oh my goodness. Before we start, just a very quick comment I'd like to share with you. Wayne Cornish was day one with Bob Morrison talking about the idea of a cookbook, and I got involved a little while after that. The comment that I want to make you aware of is I too, like Ed, have been involved in a lot of Kiwanis projects over the year, but I have never seen in my life a group of people so focused and so dedicated and so willing to share skills, ideas, and their time to make something happen. Such a diverse, Mary Halpin, God bless you, all these, pardon me, all these folks that had come in, Paul McGreevy, there were just so many of them, but coming together with Calgary Youth Foundation, Calgary Police Youth Foundation, CPYF, was a blessing beyond our imagination. So there is so much behind this. The funny part about it, though, I keep telling people this story. This started out as about a 20-page idea. We'll get some ideas for recipes, and then we'll put a funny cover on it, and we'll make our club $1,000, and won't we be heroes? Kind of changed as we this morphed right from day one. It just kept growing, and I've used the phrase, it found a life of its own, and everybody joined in on that life pattern, and it's been a sheer joy. So what we'd like to do right now is, there was a group that put together a little bit of a surprise and wanted to present to as many as we could I'll put mine on. So this is what we came up with. Oops, this isn't mine, obviously. So this is when we're in the kitchen with our grandchildren, our children, when we're out selling books at Chapters, wherever we are, and we'd like to have people acknowledge. And there's Kiki, and my lovely granddaughter came up with the Kiki. By the way, one of the reasons I said I had to have oxygen when she came up with the idea, and I'll tell you the reason why now. This is a great story. In Kiwanis, we have our head office in Indianapolis, and it's called Kiwanis International. When we talk about it as Kiwanis, OKI. So when my daughter phoned and said, "This is what we've got," is Kiki, K-I-K-I. Lord, is this meant to be? Anyway, there's a little bit of a story. This is what we're going to do, and I'm going to call out a few people, and if those people would just come up and see Ed, you'll get an apron. The very first one is Susan Cron. Would you please come up and get an apron? And you know that she's the CEO of Calgary Police Youth Foundation. Barbara, there you are, right there. Barbara Pohl is the Senior Director of Community Engagement of CPYF.
Well, I think they have to wear those light bulbs with the apron.
I agree. Yes, it does draw attention. It's fantastic. I love it. Is Stephanie? She's not here. Okay, Stephanie, and maybe you could take one for her. Cheryl, please come up. Cheryl Arany. She generated, sorted, edited, and tested recipes until she could recite them by heart, every single one of them, and did a fantastic job. Thanks, Cheryl. Terry, where are you? Kazakh? Terry's videotaping. We'll put one aside for you, Terry. Terry's been helping with social media. And Alicia Chung, where are you, Alicia? She was here somewhere. There she is. Alicia's coming up. She's been helping Terry with the social media work and helping us with marketing. Ed Fadoon, you don't get one. Ed, we'll put one aside for yourself, my friend.
I'm just going to comment on how well the apron goes with your new haircut.
I got to think about that one for a few minutes. I think the owl has more hair than I do, but anyway. Katharina Stevens, I didn't see Katharina. Oh, there she is. Wonderful. Katharina has been doing a wonderful job coordinating all of our volunteers. Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Katharina. Dolores Herman. Dolores has come and become involved and has picked up the pieces from Bob Morrison. Any of you know Bob Morrison, you know why I'd say that. Bob is a character. He's a wonderful guy, and I think he's been involved in Kiwanis now. Ed, what about, if it isn't 50 years, it's probably 54 years or something like that. Anyway, he's really old. Mark Anderson. Mark, I knew you were sitting there. You're not here. Oh, okay. Mark got involved. Mark is from the Okotoks Kiwanis Club. Everything that happens, Mark is always there. He's ready to help at the drop of a hat. Just a wonderful addition to the team. Mary Halpin, you got to come up and get it. You don't have any aprons, I'm sure. You've probably got 50 or so of them from Best of Bridge. But what an incredible mentor this lady has been. And we fashioned Cooking with Kids after the creation of Best of Bridge. You can't get a better standard than Best of Bridge. And you can't get a better person than Mary Halpin. Paul McGreevy, I share Mary's frustration with that. We just wish Paul was here. This is a guy you gotta meet. Someday, I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll try and get some of the restaurants he's involved in out to you. Gotta go and experience what he's done. One fellow that I don't think is here, I wish he was, because he has been one of our guiding mentors almost from day one. On the publication of the cookbook, and that's George Brookman from West Canadian Digital, used to be West Canadian Graphics. George gave us advice right from day one, introduced us to his graphic team, and I don't know that they're still here. Vivian, oh, they are! There's Vivian in the back, pardon me, the mind goes blank. Mandy. Do you have these senior moments? I'm sorry, Mandy. It's all right. These two ladies, along with the gang down at West Canadian, have just gave their hearts to this project. and we appreciate it so much. Would you two come up and get an apron, please? And you can take one back for George. Thank you. Mandy, my apologies. Oh dear. Okay. There's one other from West Canadian, and we'll get to that lady later on. Roland Savern. Roland has taken up as the Kiwanis team lead. Boy, you talk about a volunteer who does work. This is the man who does it. On and on and on. And he has a wife that puts up with it. So Marianne, thank you for that. You should be wearing the apron, Marianne. Yeah. You don't want him cooking. Anyway, Hugh Savage. Hugh is, come on up, Hugh. Hugh has just come in and said, I'll look after distribution, I'll look after the warehouse, and we'll just make sure everything works. And this is the fellow that does, and just been a great guy. Bob Morrison is on the team. He got an apron a while back, and he's down playing golf in Palm Springs. What's wrong with this picture? Wayne got your apron and myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the core of the team that's been working so hard. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to have to do some cooking. So that is our entire program. Thank you, everyone, for attending this launch. It was a long time in the coming, and we're so glad we could do it. If you want to buy one of these fantastic cookbooks, because you're so inspired to do so, to get more, please see our staff partner, Dietland. She's by the front, and our amazing Mary Halpin is here to sign those copies for you.
I'm just thinking it's, to dedicate it to a person if you're giving it to them for Christmas, it's personalized if you want.
Thank you. And I just want to say again, thank you to our sponsors that are here tonight. We couldn't do it without you. I hope you see the impact of what you've really done, and it's tremendous. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe.